Please join us in welcoming Matthew Kelly.
Thank you. Thanks, Hank. Appreciate it. Thank you. Good morning. How are you? We'll see. I think as we wrap up this morning, your event, it's really important for us to remind ourselves why we've come here and what action we should be taking back to our teams and our organization, our broader organization. We come here because it's important to step back from who we are and where we are and what we're doing and take another look at who we are and where we are and what we're doing. The reason it's important to do that is because if we don't do that, we get caught up in our own little world, and that's dangerous. It happens to people, it happens to organizations, it happens to industries, and it always ends ugly. But the great danger is that we fall into the trap of believing that the whole world is like the street we live on. We get so caught up in our daily lives, we get caught in the trap of believing the whole world's like the city we live in. And of course it isn't. So we come here to expand our vision of ourselves, to expand our vision of our organization, and to expand our vision of the world. Because otherwise we do get trapped in our little lone world views. And the way we see the world determines the way we live our lives. Your constant challenge as a manager is to expand the way your people see themselves, to expand the way your people see their organization, and to expand the way your people see the world. That's the challenge. You're constantly trying as a manager to draw people out of their own little world. That's why it's so important that we step back from who we are and where we are and what we do. Because we all have a worldview, and the way we see the world determines the way we live our lives. How do you see the world? There are 6 billion people on the planet, give or take. And if we reduce the world's population to 100 people, proportionally, 57 of those 100 people would come from Asia, 21 from Europe, 14 from North and South America, and 8 from Africa. 51 would be women, 49 would be men. 68 of those 100 people would not be able to read and write. How do you see the world? 68% of the world's population still can't read and write. 6 of those 100 people would own and control almost 50% of the world's wealth, and all of those 6 people would be US citizens. 3 of those 6 people would live on the same street at the North Shore of Long Island. How do you see the world? Because the way we see the world determines the way we live our lives. One of those 100 people would have just been born. One of those 100 people would be just about to die, and only one of those 100 people would have been to college. How do you see the world? Maybe in your world, everyone goes to college. But on planet Earth, 1 in 100 people have a college experience. 1/3 of the world's population is dying from lack of bread. 1/3 of the world's population is dying from lack of justice. And 1/3 of the world's population is dying from overeating. You ready for lunch? How do you see the world? Because the way we see the world determines the way we live our lives. And the great danger is that we do get caught up in our own little worlds. That's why we come here, to step back from who we are, where we are, and what we're doing, and take another look at who we are and where we are and what we're doing. And as you go back to your organization now, you have to mimic the success of this event for the people in your team. It's no good going back and saying, listen, everything's fine. They told me it's fine, get back to work. Doesn't work. It doesn't work. As I spoke to people this morning, one of the things they said was, yeah, we know we're in a rough time. We know we're in a rough industry at the moment. But being here and hearing the leaders present in the way they've presented and having that information, being informed, is going to help you in the midst of the uncertainty, is going to help you in the midst of the change, is going to help you move through the transition. You have to take that back to your people. You have to go back and inform them. And I think that the message you've got here in the last few days is what? Is that yes, we have a plan, and yes, there's clarity around that plan. So you have to go back, you have to inform people, and you have to give them that clarity. Because you're in a tough industry, it's a tough time, but there's been other tough industries. And companies come through it. The good news is, what's going to happen? A lot of your competitors are going to leave the marketplace. So when the business does come back, the companies that are best positioned will take more of the market share. And that's what you've got to be ready for. Now's the time to be building for that. Now's the time to be preparing for that. Because the business is going to come back. The business is going to come back. There's been other bad industries, but the best companies in the midst of an industry that's struggling, what are they doing? They're preparing for the comeback. You didn't cause the problem, and you can't solve the problem. You didn't cause the problem, and you can't solve the problem. All you can do is be ready for when the business comes back, because the business is coming back. You and I both know that. Sooner or later, the business is coming back, and companies, and a company, when the business comes back, is going to be a market leader.